Hey men, welcome back to Man Time. Today's episode, Husqvarna's biggest chainsaw takes on Texas's biggest tree. Welcome to Man Time. Let's take a little step back before we jump into just cutting down a tree. It's a little bit more complicated than just digging your saw in. And by the way, welcome to Man Time. This is a channel about homesteading, farmsteading. There's not going to be any viral videos coming out of this production. But hopefully I can teach you a little something about homesteading, farmsteading, and what I do to get by out here in the country. For, one thing in this episode, getting prepared to take down this gigantic oak tree. As you can see there, we've got a 120cc Husqvarna chainsaw, and maybe that'll be the title of the episode, Husqvarna's biggest chainsaw taking down a tree. That might get you to click on the video, and then you realize, oh wait, there's somebody that's, out there homesteading that I could probably learn something from about, trying to set up power and utilities way back off the road in the woods to a barn-dominium, and that's my dream and hopes of, going forward in life, and this channel will definitely help you to get to that goal. This whole channel is dedicated to the documentation of homesteading out in the woods, building a barn-dominium. So if that's you out there, maybe that's something you aspire to do, or maybe that's something you've already done and you want to see somebody struggle doing it, this is for you. So the first thing here, and the most important thing, is preparation in bringing down a tree this size. It's right up against the house. It's right up against a power line. If I didn't prepare and just dug in a saw and tried to cut it down, it would be one of those fail videos that you see on YouTube where the tree comes crashing down onto the house, and not on purpose. So I've got a couple weapons with me here today that I'm going to be using. This one is going to be a Clone 660, the Holzfforma Pro model. And then I've also got my 3120 that I've ported up and done a bunch of modifications to. You can go back on the channel and check that out. By the way, if you want to subscribe, that would be great for the channel. That way you can go back, find my channel, and find the videos about this saw, or a different saw that I use, or one of the axes that I built. Homesteading out here on a shoestring budget. Basically, every tool that you see me use is going to be something that I built on the channel, so you can go back and look at it. I'm going to be using my old Ford 555 backhoe to brace against the back of the tree. I've got several videos on that. Unfortunately, the channel started after I actually rebuilt the engine and tore the whole thing apart and redid everything, but a lot of videos on the use of that machine, so if you're looking at trying to find a good backhoe, that's definitely a good one. Anyways, hopefully you like this video, and you hit that thumbs up button. That means that you like it, I guess. I don't know, we'll see. But what we're going to do is take you through the preparation to cut down this huge 60-inch on the stump red oak tree, how I kind of determined which way I want it to go, getting everything out of the way, and getting the tools ready for the day, right? Welcome to Man Time. But anyways, what we're going to do is we are going to prepare our tools, right? Picking the right tools, picking the right equipment to bring down a tree that size, very clutch here. So this is my old junky Husqvarna 3120, just over 120 cc's of power. Rebuilt, ported, new top end, completely gone through, carb rebuilt, the whole deal, right? You in a situation like this, you've got to have a tool that you can rely on and count on. I did remeasure the bar. It actually came with it. This is a 42. In some later videos, you might have seen me call this a 48-inch bar, and it looks massive. I mean, the wingspan on this thing is huge. So I assumed it was a 48. It's actually a 42. I put a tape measure on it. but I did get the right chain for it, so let's get the chain on here and then see how it's running with the chain on there. We're also going to get back here to this 660 clone, but you definitely want to have a multi-saw plan, you know, for a tree this big in a critical situation where if it falls the wrong way, it's destroying your house and your basically your entire reality falls to pieces, right? It falls on the power lines, it falls on your house, it falls on your trailer, it falls on all your belongings. That's the situation we're in. So we need to absolutely prepare to make sure that this does the right thing and goes where we want it to. So I'm going to take you through that whole process in this video. Let's put a chain on this saw. Yeah, this is this is a lot of chain. So putting your chain on your chainsaw, away from you on top, toward you on the bottom, and yeah, 42 inch. This is the biggest bar chain combo that I've ever worked with. Of course, for a tree like this, you kind of need, you know, outside of what you're normally used to working with for most folks. You know, and most folks are probably going to call the professional. I mean, that's certainly what my wife wants me to do. But as men, we know that that's not a real possibility, right? The whole point of me being out here homesteading and farmsteading is self-reliance, right? I grew up in the city. None of this was given to me, right? This whole piece of property, all of the money that I've saved and put into it, there's no backup plan. There's nobody that's gonna come through and go, oh, hey, you messed up, let me help you out. None of that exists. So the first time right is absolutely essential, hence the preparation, right? There's no daddy's money. This isn't gifted family land. This is me figuring out how to do it the right way, the best way, and do it right the first time. Hopefully without these mosquitoes eating me up alive. Okay, well, that looks like a bar on a chainsaw. Let me get that tightened up, and we should have one down. So for the couple of you out there that normally watch my videos, you know that this is one of the very few new things that I've purchased. This isn't a review channel, so I am not going to be reviewing very much of anything, but if this thing lets me down, you will hear cursing. One of the very few times. I did buy a new bar for this saw. This is the Holzfforma G660 Pro. I got it on sale, and it was about, oh shoot, 300 something bucks. Bar and chain combo here was another, man, 150 bucks, I want to say. 3-foot bar on this one. So we'll be using this one a little bit. I've seen where people have had problems with the bigger saws, you know, making that straight line first initial, you know, dive into the wood. So I think that's what I want to use this for primarily. But in the event that something happens with that one, which it shouldn't, you know, I've gone through that saw and I think it's going to be pretty reliable for me. In the event that it doesn't go as planned, this should be able to finish the job. Or I've got a couple other saws, you know, that I've built up to include a 281. Oh my God, the amount of DEET that I have on my body. How are they? Why? Getting a 3-foot bar on a chainsaw is not an easy task, let me tell you. And don't believe all the hype. Running a big bar and a long chain, it is not all it's cracked up to be. Now this chain here that came with the 3-foot bar for 150 bucks, it's not great, right? You get what you pay for, and eBay special, you know, you get the steel bar, but this is a no-name brand chain, so we'll see how it does throughout this, because I'm not buying, you know, a big expensive additional purchase to run this bar. So no name, eBay, who knows what brand of chain. We'll see how it goes here. Yeah, so right here, like immediately, the chain adjuster is not working correctly. I've got my bar nuts loose. Yeah, they're loose. This should be adjusting, and it's not. You can see the bar jiggling there. And now the chain adjuster is like locked up. Oh, the joys of clone saws. There we go. I mean, very top heavy, nose heavy, you know, for the 3-foot bar. Even for this big 66, which is a pretty stout power head, right? But my problem is when I go in for my first cut, the bar always seems to like tilt down. So I've come up with a plan to actually fix that, right? I've taken every precaution I can to make this a perfect scenario and have a perfectly lined up wedge in the front or a face, and then the back cut coming in and meeting right up so that hinge wood is perfectly level, you know, and then I don't know. I'll show you. Matter of fact, I'll just show you. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves here, we should probably try to fire these up and see if they actually run, right? This one it's having some issues. The chain is not wanting to move on its own, and it's not like it's tight. I mean, the dang thing is sticking. Well, this is the first time it's had a chain on it, so we'll give it the benefit of the doubt here. A little tight. Here is the cold start procedure you can expect on a gigantic 120cc saw. This is what I'm going to have to go through tomorrow when I actually cut the tree down. Yep, decomp's in. It's still that hard. Oh boy, here we go. Oh my god. Yeah, it popped out on its own. Oh, that's great. Oh, let's make sure this coil didn't loosen up on us. Wow. Yeah, I'm just perplexed on this one. It's not like it's too tight where anything in the chain is binding. It's in the seat. The brake's not on. If it was something there, the flywheel isn't interfering on the coil. It just all of a sudden, like the compression got insane and it's blowing. It's blowing the decomp out like on the first go. And it's just, oh, why is it kicking back? Jesus. I was just running this the other night. You know, it's not like this is the first preparation type of deal going on here. So who knows? Alright. Let's see what's going on in the cylinder. I guess it just kind of got a little too much gas in there. you might not need to choke this. If you were just running it yesterday, probably just forgo the choke. That's what I would say, because that is a healthy amount of gas in there, and that's what was causing that. Plug's wet, but nice, you know, dark brown. So I mean, the settings seem to be like they were right. Well, there you go. Live and learn. Don't choke your big saws. Holy smokes! That about ripped my arm off about 3 times. New calluses type of situation. You know what I'm saying? All right, so definitely no choke. Maybe it was the fill it up with gas. It might have been the fill it up with gas, put the cap on, rotate it over, and not having a high jet. It's got that limited high jet, so all of a sudden, like, it can just force gas in there. We'll say that's the problem until we find out otherwise. Well, I ran out of daylight last night, and so here is the rest of the tools that I think I'm going to need. I've got this go bag here for going into the woods and stuff. I've got it separated now to like just what I'm going to need for this job. I don't want to be fumbling through here. Of course, you've got your first aid stuff, tourniquets and all that. Some wedges. I've got about 6 or 8 of them, and they're all just kind of like right here, you know, at the ready. So I'm going to have all those right there, and then some nice big wedge bangers. This one here, I don't think I've built this one on the channel, but this has got a straight handle on it. I think I found this handle at a yard sale or something. Man, this thing turned out nice, and it's perfect for this. You don't see these very often. That's a straight handle with that, you know, teardrop shaped head designed for an axe. Nice big, you know, banging part on it there. I've also got this U.S. Forest Service axe, and it's been used a lot, probably for like driving in railroad spikes or something. But yeah, it's a little bit more awkward, you know, to drive in a wedge when you've got this curve in the handle. But we'll see. Should work out. All right, let's get all this stuff set up around the tree. So here's a look at the preparation around the stump. I've got an old doghouse that was pushed up against that tree. I had to move that back. Of course, all of the dead stuff had been falling out. It was kind of stacked up around the stump. All that is moved out. I had a fence line here to encompass, you know, the backyard. I had to pull that out of the ground and get it out of the way, and then went around the whole stump and just cleaned everything out. You can also see a yellow line on the tree maybe here. I'll get a little bit closer and show what I did there. I've got a few more things to clean up. The other part of the preparation is going to be, you know, making sure it doesn't fall back onto the house or where I don't want it to go. I mean, of course, good hinge wood there is the key to that. Wedges set up, things like that. But as a added insurance, I'm going to have the backhoe up against the back of it, pushing and holding it from going the other way. Biggest part is looking at all these dead limbs. Let's take a look at them. Yeah, one thing I did here, I took, just to ensure that I'm getting a straight cut, you know, all the way across this thing, I took a 2x4 with a torpedo level, drilled a hole in that 2x4 like in the center, screwed it on here with that torpedo level sitting on it to make sure that it was level, and then I've got a nice straight line, level line, all the way around it. So that way I know, you know, when I'm lining up my cut in the back cut or in the front or whatever, I've got a nice line to follow here. This is where it's gonna hopefully fall down out here. Hope not being a solution. That's why I'm gonna have the backhoe back here, because you can see multiple targets, electrical lines. But the biggest problem is all of these dead branches directly overhead. Yeah, I think probably the best vantage is right there. So that is where the lightning struck the tree, and it was a big lightning strike, you know. So all of this stuff is dead over here. Like, everything is dead. It's been dead for a year. Lightning struck the tree 12, 16 months ago. And this side of the tree over here was actually green this summer. But once it got 100 degrees, you know, for 30 days in a row and no rain toward the end of the summer, it has since all died. And the likelihood that this tree is going to come back is very slim. So I've got a unique opportunity right now. These are not super dead. A lot of the weight is sloughed off of them, you know, so there aren't a whole lot of hazards, although there is a lot of hazards. And then on this side, though, all the weight of the tree is on this side, right? All of these limbs are still filled with good, moist wood, which is going to be the weight, right? This side wants to pull the tree down in this direction, which is where I want it, away from the house, the power lines, all that stuff. But there is a lot of overhead danger. A lot of overhead danger. Holy Lord. Okay. I think that's as much as I can do. The other thing that you could do, if you're really concerned about the way that it's going, again, I've looked at this thing, you know, a million times over the past year, basically. And now I've kind of got the perfect scenario. I was even pulling on some of the branches on some of this dead stuff. They're still flexible. They aren't, you know, trying to break out of there with just, you know, pulling on it. Also hit the, you know, tree with the backhoe. Seems like this is as good as it gets, but you could put a rope in it, get a rope up there and tie it to something and then pull it off, you know, the way that you want it to go. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to opt for the machine as my backup, and hopefully this all works out. Make sure to subscribe for the next episode where we start to cut this down and see how it goes. That's the beauty of YouTube, isn't it? It's complete failure or huge success for a rank amateur, you know, that just does firewood and stuff. Homesteading out here, trying to save the homestead. Anyways, get out there, have you some man time too.